Hey guys, I am here to get into my 10 favorite scenes of Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which was directed by David Lynch, released in the year 1992. And initially, the whole opening scene, which stars Chris Isaac and Kiefer Sutherland as the detective characters, it's just stunning. It just kind of really separating the entire atmosphere from how the show is. This just kind of puts you right into kind of more of an offbeat, kind of psychological horror kind of atmosphere, which David Lynch presents such a wonderfully offbeat kind of way, with just great kind of sense of looming, a sense of humor in all of this. Is great scene where they eat at a restaurant, they meet with Harry Dean Stanton, and it's just a very darkly surreal moment. And you kind of get McLaughlin also, Conor McLaughlin meeting with Dean Stanton. And it's like pretty much the only meet of his character you really get out of this film, along with this entire sequence that unfolds with David Bowie. One of the weirdest parts of the whole Twin Peaks universe is the FBI offices are in Philadelphia as Bowie just barges in on them, and it just leads to this completely confusing kind of moment, which is just basically just a really warped dream sequence. Which just displays numerous just villainous entities from the series. Then there's practically every scene introducing just Cheryl Lee and just kind of getting to know her character in a very close-up angle. It just holds up as just perhaps one of the greatest tragic characters of 1990s just filmmaking period. Is she revisits a bunch of characters from the original show, and you can just kind of tell like this is just a really perfect kind of like character study, psychological horror in every sense of the word. One of my favorite shots is also whenever Heather Graham's dead body briefly appears on Lee's bed, and it just says a few cryptic things there. I love these interactions with Mariah Kelly, which is supposed to be Laura Flynn Boyle from the show. However, they just got this actress to replace her as they go out for the night. As you can just tell that Lee's just getting in a really rebellious kind of mood. And it's just really building up in all this. I think the entire pink room sequence, it's almost just one of those mesmerizing things that Lynch has ever filmed. Is Lee is confronted by Margaret Landerman, listens to Julie Cruz sing a song, and kind of just depicts Lee just having something of a bit of a tender sort of breakdown as she follows into just kind of getting into this sort of drug-fueled sort of scenario, and kind of like a dancing with extremely sensory how it's all depicted. It's just a lot of red lighting going on, and the musical score by Angelo Badalamenti remains absolutely timeless. As this is a real big-time showcase where you can see where Lee's really trying to numb herself from a lot of pain and suffering. It's kind of why she puts herself through all of this, because it numbs her. And then there's any scene that just involves an inexplicable evil that's casted by way of Frank Zilva, Ray Wise, like on Lee. These are just richly disturbing sort of displays of psychological horror and like getting even with supernatural elements. As Lee's practically living through an ultimate kind of hell on earth kind of scenario that's just impossible to be understood or explained by anybody. Like it makes sense as the viewer, but there's no way no one could explain this kind of stuff. It's just too much and too frightening. A sequence in which Ray Wise has some road rage is incredibly bizarre and brutal and surreal. As you get all this kinds of just bizarre imagery and scenarios kind of just lingering throughout this moment. There's a heartbreaking, horrifying ending in which Wise reveals how much he loves Lee despite the horrible tragedy around in this whole scenario. It just leads to an ending sequence which is just completely cathartic to a very original extent. The way it's all portrayed, it's just like it's just so fully realized, this whole project. It's one of Lynch's absolute greatest films.